Hello everyone, I'm Leslie Cornwell, Certified Nurse Midwife with Empowering Midwifery Education. This section has to do with preventing and managing midwifery burnout. A legal disclaimer we put at the beginning of all of our presentations. This information is for general and educational use only. Everybody's situation is going to be different, and this is just to give you a perspective of different ways to look at midwifery burnout. Students will be able to verbalize in this course exactly what is burnout, what are the common symptoms, why is it impacting midwifery so much, and what can they do to help avoid it and get through it. So why is this topic so important? Professional burnout, particularly in the midwifery world, has a massive impact on how many people will get into midwifery, how many will stay into midwifery, how many people will choose to have a midwife for their care, all because of the outcomes, the professional fatigue, the lost empathy, the just stopping practicing sooner than you anticipated because of the burnout. We really need to strengthen the midwifery access, giving more students, getting more resiliency, getting more access in your communities. We need to help love our job, avoid burnout, and really practice as midwives the best we can. This is a topic that's very personal to me. I went through severe midwifery burnout back in 2017, and when I do my consulting services and I do education, I'm very, very passionate about helping midwives to get a good work-life balance, get a good boundary with their clients, a good business system, so we can really get to the root and cause of midwifery burnout. So let's get to the basics. What exactly is burnout? It's an effect of long-term stress. Everybody is different. 1 month of stress, 6 months of stress, years of stress, just some sort of sustained long period of stress. It's that constant go, go, go pace. You're seeing lots of patients, you've got rough outcomes, you're short-staffed, you're doing 20 roles at your home birth practice, your birth center, you're working at the hospital and they can't keep nurses and midwives and physicians, and you're being told to pick up extra shifts and take more patients on your clinic days and your call shifts than you can safely do or that you can emotionally handle. It a lot of times causes dangerous situations in the healthcare system because you're missing things, you're not thinking critically, you're zoning out and you're losing the passion and drive of why you became a midwife and serving people. You get a lot more quality issues when there's burnout rampant through the healthcare system. It describes a chronic stress condition that's due to work-related activities, particularly with midwives, just the demands of being on call 24/7, the constant adrenaline rush, the unpredictabilities of what the birth outcome will look like, and just it's a very special part of people's lives, and we want it to be the best of the best, but I think sometimes midwives forget we're also human and we need our personal time. We need to have realistic boundaries. We can't go to birth after birth and not sleep and not take care of ourselves because it has massive health implications for our clients we're serving and ourselves. There's a lot of association with mental health issues, and there's so much data out there about increased heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancers, shortened length of life from having burnout, from having just an extreme exhaustion, fatigue, apathy, from just working and working. No matter how amazing birth is and no matter how amazing the profession of midwifery is, many people, unless you're directly in as a midwife, do not see the other side of things. So these are some common symptoms of burnout. It's a complete and emotional shutdown. Your body just starts screaming at you. You need to sleep. You need to take care of yourself. You need to focus on yourself. You can't take care of other people anymore. It's an inability to function. You have trouble processing things, finding your way home, doing simple day-to-day tasks. You feel very disconnected from what you do. I remember when I was in the severe burnout, my heart would sink and I'd start having an anxiety attack when my phone would ring. I had no idea who was calling. I had no idea if it was my mom. I had no idea if it was someone in labor, but I got such an extreme fatigue that I could not separate from being a midwife no matter how hard I tried. Um, And it started to impact how I took care of people, how I talked to my family, how I just interacted with my whole meaning of life. So it's really an extreme version of energy depletion, exhaustion, negativity, everything bad's going to happen. You're not as professional, you make bad mistakes. There's just so many things that can go on and on because we want a break. We want it to all turn off for a while. And sometimes you just can't make that happen as a midwife. We've committed to these people 9 months in advance. And now that that time has come, you can't just say, I'm not going to be on call for you. So it's a long-term commitment. And you have no idea what you're going to feel like and what needs and demands on personal life are going to come up 9 months from now. And this is why I'm really, really passionate about community cooperatives, about team-based care, about having multiple levels of support within your practice model, within a healthcare system, so that you can support each other as a team versus one person is doing so much of the care demands. So, what are the different ways to avoid burnout? So prevention is easiest, just like if you have a patient that you tell to take your Motrin and your Tylenol, because once you get in pain, it's a lot harder to play catch up. Once you're in the thick of burnout, it's a lot harder to get through it than just preventing it altogether. So we need to get into our heads that we have to put ourselves first. We have to do self-care. Being self-care is not selfish, it's self-aware. How are we expected to take amazing care of our clients, our husbands, our partners, our kids, our moms, our sisters, if we're not even taking care of ourselves? I would feel so much guilt when I would say, okay, drink a bunch of water, make sure you eat well, get some good sleep, when a good chunk of the time I wasn't doing that myself. So you really have to take a step back and go back to the basics. And you'll be shocked in life when you take that extra time, you take the time for breaks, you take the time for vacations and hobbies and personal time. You're going to be a better midwife. You're going to be more more involved, you're going to have better outcomes, you're going to have a better business model and relationships with your staff and your personal family and friends because you took care of yourself first. So it's hard. It's hard. It just is because we feel so much guilt depending on our culture and how you're raised, but we've got to figure out a way to just step back and say, I need some me time for a while. So there's some other things you can do to really help with, and these seem basic. I've been just listening some really good audiobooks about change is simple but not easy. And that means we know over and over again about we need rest, we need to eat well, we need to exercise, we need to take care of ourselves, we need to get lots of water. But it's a habit. You've been doing it a certain way for so long, your body goes on autopilot so much out of the day. It's when you're already tired and exhausted, it takes conscious effort to change those habits and to shift things. And when you're already tired and exhausted, that's the last thing you feel like you want to do. But I promise you, if you really start making baby steps and little shifts, I was just listening to an awesome audiobook called The 5 Second Plan. And it's really powerful because throughout the day, just pause for 5 seconds, count back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and give your body a chance to process what's happening versus you're just going on autopilot. And that'll make you determine, do I want to eat that extra piece of pie? Do I want to quickly grab McDonald's versus, oh, before I leave the house, or I'm going to schedule 30 minutes extra and I'm going to make my meals to take and do my home visits. I'm going to pack myself and get in the habit of a little sack lunch and drinking water and stopping the pop and just focusing on teas and tapering off on the sugar that I'm putting in my tea. Like there's little things we can do that have a massive impact if we think about them in the moment and make routines and plan ahead of time. You can. I mean, there's so much data out there about exercise where people say all the time, I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to exercise. But the data shows over and over again, you take the first part of your day, get up a little earlier, and take that 30 minutes to exercise, take some meditation, some journaling. The Miracle Morning is an excellent book that goes into this, you're going to be more productive throughout the day. You're going to fall asleep better. You're going to memorize things. You're going to be more efficient at that little bit of less time than if you just didn't do that. So I really encourage people, think about the excuses, think about the reasons, because this is something we tell our clients all the time when they have diabetes and blood pressure issues and obesity. We need to start thinking about ourselves and what are the barriers we're putting in our lives to make that happen for us. This is a hard one for midwives, establishing boundaries, because we get so personal with our families. We deliver our friends, they become friends in time. We catch 2, 3 of their babies, we get invited to baby showers. We grow with them. Our community treats us as family, and it's very, very hard because you have to put boundaries. This is a job, this is a profession. You are not their sister. You have that family support network, you have your friends. And the more we can make with our staff and with our clients a work-life balance and boundaries, the far better out you're going to be with your practice sustainability, your midwife burnout prevention, and the love for the profession and keeping it up long term, because you have things you do in your personal life and you have things you do at work, and you really it's a tough one, it really is. But I think when you have your first consult and you have staff meetings, you have to manage the expectations of who you're going to take care of, how you're going to have this working relationship, and what those boundaries look like, that they're only allowed to call you after 4 o'clock for emergency things in labor. They don't just call you at 7 in the morning because they have a question about an over-the-counter medication. You have to put boundaries of when people communicate with you, what they communicate with you about, and what your purpose and role based on this professional contractual relationship to take care of them. Challenge yourself. This is an interesting concept that most people get in autopilot, and they think what it's supposed to look like. They think midwives are supposed to work 100 hours a week. They think they're on call 24/7. So the baby always comes first. But I challenge you to try to consolidate with time management, your work days, supporting with another midwife in the area, getting a partner on your team, but really structure a system where you're like, this is my personal day and I'm not on call and I'm not going to the office and I'm not looking at work related things. I'm going to separate myself. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to do XYZ. But we have to be able to set a structure with our business. And if you're working in the hospital, boundaries at your job. If they call you and ask for an extra shift, or they call you and want you to work on an extra project because XYZ is happening and they're behind, you have to know, what am I paid for? Who are the resources on our team? Is this part of my job description? Is this above and beyond what we'd agreed to? And you need to challenge yourself to stand up for, because you want to work there long term. You want to own the practice long term. You want to be a midwife long term. So we have to, it's not being selfish, to really think about what's best for me, because I want to serve people long term. Getting the most out of your day-to-day routine. I find this one interesting because most midwives, they're kind of like, okay, I'm going to go to the office, but we never really go in details of like, are you going to prep before you go to the office? Are you going to have a designated time each day that you're going to look at emails? You're not going to just scatter and glance at your phone. Um, you're going to have a pager, and then your phone sits at the front desk during prenatal visits so you can be fully focused. Are you going to have a system for prenatal visits so you have a medical assistant, you have labs, you have certain educational packets already so that you can be the most efficient with your time with your clients, the time you're in the office, the time you need to chart, to prep, to make sure your supplies are in order for that next birth? What do your routines look like, and are they set up the most efficient way for your practice and your current needs? I bet there's a lot of things you could do to improve on this. So really analyze deep. Take the next couple weeks, write down everything you're doing, the nitty gritty stuff. How long do you take a shower? How long do you have some self care? Do you do a massage? Do you exercise? Are you having some family time? Are you having date night? How long are you at the office? How long do you see patients versus administration time? Are you blocking for administration time? We really need to look at the routines, and does it make the most sense for me to check my emails in the morning, lunchtime, at the end of the day. When are those blocks that it's key to be the most efficient, where you're not going to get interrupted? You can focus, you can get through things, you can not miss things. If you're reviewing labs, it may make sense to do it when everybody is out of the office and you're not able to say, oh, I took care of this, but you get distracted with something else. So we really need to just streamline, and this is something that's hard for midwives because there's so many things going on in a busy day. You get calls, people have questions, they're inquiring about your services, they're getting scheduled, your staff, your secretary has questions, you're working in the clinic and you can't find some supplies, and all of a sudden an issue problem comes up and you need to get them to the hospital right away versus now they're coming in labor and you got to reschedule because you've got to go do a home birth. Like, I can tell you 1,000 unpredictable things that can happen in a midwife schedule each and every day. But if we can make sure we've got backup plans, exit strategies, consistent routines of what we're going to do certain days of the week, you're going to get more efficient at the time that you have put to those things. So take some time to reflect. This is hard because most midwives are tired and exhausted, and every day, write an abundancy journal. Take 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be crazy complicated. Write down 3 things you appreciate and reflect on some of the good things and some of the bad things that happened today. And reflecting on those good things and how do I get more of that in my life, and looking at those near misses, those challenges. Was that something I could avoid? How did I handle that situation? Would I have handled it differently, or was it handled the best I could at for what I knew at that moment? So we need to not beat ourselves up and cause trauma in our life because of birth and client expectations of how things are going to go, and then it all of a sudden doesn't go that way because we can't control some of these circumstances that are happening. So you really want to take care of yourself. You want to be in the moment as best as you can. I think too many times when there's 1,000 responsibilities and there's so much going on, or the opposite, you're in extreme burnout, you just start shutting down. But I think it's important to have time to reflect on the goods and the bads, learn from the bads and grow from them, and enjoy and appreciate the good things in your life. Have a mentor. It could be a midwife mentor, it could be a business mentor, it could be a life coach, it could be a counselor, it could be a friend that you guys have a professional relationship and you're like, I need someone to hold me accountable, I need someone to vent things with, I need to have someone to get good sound advice on life, on my midwifery practice, on where I want to go, where I'm at, are they in line, someone to remind me of my goals and what I wanted to accomplish. Mentors and accountability coaches are absolutely phenomenal for midwives. Like when we do our business consulting services, I talk about the power of a counselor, a life coach, a mentor on your mastermind team because you need support. You need those people to lean on and help you and a different perspective. They're going to give you a different way to look at a challenge and help you find another way to solve this problem that you may not have thought of just because of your unique skill set and experience. So it's really good to have mentors. It's really good to have people that will challenge you, that will help you grow in a supportive environment, and help you to put those boundaries and to really keep you level headed with those challenging situations that bad birth outcome wasn't your fault. Based on what you told me, you handled everything correctly. After the moment, based on what you knew, you did a good job. Like we need to have those mentors to give us good, sound advice and just really talk and process through things that happen. And this is part of asking for help. You can ask for help from friends and family, but a lot of times they may just not understand. So asking for help from a professional, and we've listed a few of those that you can ask for help from, but sometimes just having more of a girls' night. I remember I'm not much for relationships. I'm not much for having girls' night, but I remember how good I'd feel, and I'd get in the habit once a month. I'm gonna have a girls' night. We're gonna do some wine and some art, and we're just gonna get together. We're gonna have the husbands watch all the kids. Like, whatever that asking for help looks like, it's getting together with your friends. It's reaching out. I need help within my practice. I need help. I need an office manager. I need a receptionist. I need to restructure. I need to step back. I need to take a break for a while. Like, I need help with the kids. I need help with laundry and I need help with XYZ. Like, we cannot be as midwives 1,000 different roles and responsibilities each and every day. You have to let go of some things. And so prioritize in your life. What is most important? What are you the best person to do? And what would be better to delegate to someone else so that you can focus on what you're best at? There's really good books about the 80-20 rule, where are you the most productive? Where is your zen? Where are you the most happiest? Where is an area of your life that only you can do it the best way? And then everything else, delegate. Everything else, prioritize. Everything else you can do with a supportive team around you if you just ask. So we just want to summarize. Being a midwife is one of the most amazing professions in the world. I truly, truly believe it. But it's also one of the most challenging professions in the world. We have so many layers of dynamics and complexities and things in the US and each state and around the world that no other profession has to deal with. We're taking care of people in the most exciting time of their life, and 1% of the time, it's the most traumatic part of their life. And so we have to be emotionally resilient. We have to run strong financial practices. We have to put boundaries at our hospital jobs and our work employment of what the role of a midwife looks like. Because if you start in a hospital clinic seeing 20, 30 people a day and you're behind on your charting and you never go home and you're delivering 6, 8 babies in a 24-hour period, you start losing that identity of why you became a midwife and how you're a good midwife and how can you serve the community the best. So midwifery burnout doesn't have to end your career. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes crisis, if you let it and you grow and learn from it, creates opportunity. I personally know that. Crisis is a tough thing to go through, but after the fact of it and you learn from it and you grow from it, you can flourish and you can change how you do your midwifery support. Like, I rarely do direct clinical care anymore, but I'm still a midwife. I still midwife the midwives. I still support midwifery on the terms of why I became a midwife. I love to support women and empower women to be the best that they can, whether it's being a mom, it's catching their baby, it's being able to have more opportunities in their life to do whatever makes them happy. That's what I learned over time of why I became a midwife. And so each and every one of you, sometimes going to the basics and just saying, why did I become a midwife? Am I going in the right direction I want to be as a midwife? And if I'm not, what can I do about it? So there's different layers of burnout, but the most important thing I want to stress to everybody is you can prevent it. If you're in the thick of it, there's lots of help out there for you. And once you get through it, you will be better from it if you learn and grow from that challenging situation.